Yes, people, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Of course, I offer this with wholeheartedly to all the followers of the channel. Thank you very much for all your support, all the likes on the videos. I cannot thank you enough. We're back again with the Chelsea Transfer Watch on a Chelsea perspective. And if you haven't, please do join us because it's going to be fun. I'm hoping to have some people join me in about 10 minutes or so. If not, I will go solo, and believe me, it will still be fun. This evening, we're going to talk about take questions from audience in the chat. That try my best to answer all your questions. And if I can't, I will ask for help because I definitely do not know everything. We will talk about Koulibaly, Raheem Sterling, and I know you all must have heard the good news. But we should just calm down until he's announced officially by Chelsea Football Club. And we'll talk about Ligt, Ousmane Dembele, and every other player that's been a link to Chelsea Football Club. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, once again, welcome back to the Transfer Watch Show on Chelsea Perspective. And as it is the tradition here on Chelsea Perspective, first I would try to get, say hello to those in the chat. And at this point, we have just two people, but that's still fine. I will reach out to them and see how they are doing before we continue. And here, Abhisha Moha, it's been a while. I hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you for a while. He says, are Chelsea buying a new players? Yes, of course, we're working on it, but none is official yet. But we're getting some good news. We're seeing some signs that shows the club are well and truly well at work, like I've always argued. So we should just calm down and believe, the club will get some deals done. And as I've argued before, once the first player comes in, it will be as if the floodgate has been opened, and it looks like the floodgate is slightly open. You cannot argue it's completely open yet, so be calm and watch out for it. Again, after Abhisha Moha, here we have a Blue Blood. Blue Blood says, yes, a Sterling deal virtually complete as agreed on personal terms. Yes, he's agreed personal term where here, Rain, and that's a good thing. Again, that's a good sign. But still, as the reports say, there are a few details, to get done before you can argue that the deal is complete. So, as I've said before, we just have to trade carefully and not jump to conclusions saying that it's complete. But the signs are it will get done in no distant time. So we shouldn't actually worry that much. But like I said, my argument has always been, that the floodgate will be open soon, and once that happens, it will be the transfers to Chelsea will be coming in like this. And if you're in the chat, let me know. I know we don't have too many people right now, but let me know. It make me happy to know where you're watching the show from. Please take a minute or a second to tell us where you're following the show from. That will make us really, really happy. Yeah, Raheem Sterling, again, he says, I'm seeing something that says Pep Guardiola's Raheem Sterling admission hints at Chelsea role as per terms have agreed. Is this something that I will take a look at later so I can talk about it in detail? Again, says Nick Blue is going to be so happy. He will be because he talked about it. Preseason friendly Friday, 29th July away to Udinese in, is that in Italy? Or are you saying Udinese of Italy? Let me know what you're referring to there. But that's a good sign. Taking a closer look at the impact Raheem Sterling. Again, that's something, that's an article. If you want to read it, you should go to Chelsea FC 365 and take a look at the article. But here's the thing. This is some good news. If it's agreed on personal terms, and as we've heard before, that Chelsea has agreed the transfer fee with Manchester City, which means it's just the final details. What the final details mean is what I just cannot say I know. But to me, it's a good sign, and we can only hope that the deal gets completed very soon. And again, I'm still going to ask the question, the whole thing, how well he does at Chelsea Football Club is still, it's comes down to how Thomas Tuchel wants to use him. Hopefully he doesn't use him out of position. If he does like he's done with the other players we had at the club, then he will suffer the same fate as the others, not, being used properly, which will result in him not, showing what he's capable of doing completely. But I hope that changes. Hopefully, because we're hearing the manager that he has the plans, to employ deploy a formation that allows the players to be in their preferred or natural positions. That remains to be seen. If you're in the chat and you have any questions, please shoot your question and I'll try my best to answer the question. If not, I will ask for help because I do not know everything. Need to do a medical. That seems like that's the only. That's not the only thing that's left, because what we're hearing, the final details, what that entails, I do not know. Final details could mean anything, but we'll see what happens. Chose a bad time as England women versus Australia in Euros just started. Again, I shared the show already, so I'm going to continue with it. Yeah, I get the point, but that's not a problem with me. I didn't even know that was going on today. It says away in my post. I'm not sure what are you talking about. Please do let me know. Again, like I said, this is a good sign, and hopefully the deal gets crosses the line, and then that will be the first signing under the reign of Todd Boehly in the Clear Lake Consortium. Again, most people thought it was going to be Ousmane Dembele or what's his name again? Ousmane Dembele or Jules Kounde, one of the two players that will be Todd Boehly's first signing. It turns out it's looking more likely to be Raheem Sterling. And if things are going by the way we're seeing it, the second signing may well be may well be Ligt from Juventus, which is a signing I really would like the club to make, because he's a player I like so much, and he's a very good player, not just because I like him. It says, I'm not sure what you're talking about. That can you explain? It says, is Matheus Nunes coming to Chelsea? Again, we're not sure. All we heard is that Chelsea will put in a bid today. And then again, we're hearing, I think, from Ben Jacobs that the rumors that Chelsea are looking to sign Matheus Nunes is just you could say a rumor at this point, nothing serious. But I've seen other reports, that fortifies the rumors that Chelsea are looking to sign the player. The question remains whether we don't know. You could say the truth is they're all speculations. No matter how you see it, there's no way to confirm until the player comes to the club. But the more the rumor swells, the likelihood that it is indeed the truth, because the rumors are that Chelsea owner Todd Boehly, he's discussed a couple of players with Jorge Mendes, which we're learning is the agent for Matheus Nunes. So there's a chance they talked about the player. So that makes it sound like it is the truth. But we'll see what happens. But like I said, until it happens, that's when I know it is in fact the truth. Udinese away. Oh, slow down. Okay. Now I get what you're talking about. So again, some updates. It's everywhere. We're learning also that Barcelona will get more money. They're selling some shares to get more money, which means that there's the likelihood of them coming or going to Leeds United with an improved offer, which may well help them secure the signature of Raphinha. Again, but some people have argued to them it's an embarrassment that Chelsea hasn't pulled out of the deal. But I'd say, okay, even if we intend to pull out, Barcelona has to pay more money than we've offered to Leeds United. And pulling out, if you think it's embarrassing, that he's holding us hostage. If you want to see it that way, it will be even more embarrassing if we pull out prematurely and Arsenal goes in with more money than Barcelona is offering, and then gets the player. Then you can argue they have won over us. So I'd say we shouldn't for any reason pull out until if Barcelona, if they pay more money than we're offering Leeds United, then let them take him. Again, I'm a bit excited about the Raheem Sterling news, but I might say I'm cautiously excited because until the player is announced, anything can happen. And we've seen that movie before. We've seen that happen when on occasions. There are players we heard that was signed, and there are players other clubs thought they've signed, and we signed snapped the player right under their noses again. But that's not what I'm not going to go into that. AB says big up to you too, AB. I hope you're doing well. Again, if you're watching and if you have anything any questions, shoot it and I'll try to address it. And by the way, the Raheem Sterling transfer fee is worth around 45 million pounds plus add-ons, I believe. Again, yeah, Chelsea beat they beat already. What I was hearing, what I was reading this morning was that they were about to go in with a bid. But if they beat already, that's good to see. 45 million plus isn't bad. If you ask me, I'd say that's an absolute steal, actually, given the talent he is. And that's a good, you could say, a good scouting work by the Chelsea, on the Chelsea camp, because we don't have to spend that much money. We don't have to spend, anything, big money to buy, good players. Good scouting work can sometimes save you thousands, it saves you hundreds of millions, if not, because Declan Rice is not currently priced as 100 million plus. We heard at one time that the fee has been reduced to 75 million. Even that price is still too much for me. Yeah, he's a young player. He's a Chelsea academy product and all that. But still, I don't think it will be worth it to spend that much money on Declan Rice. But that's, by the way, let me see if there's anything to address here. Sterling is so close to here we go. Yes, this time it is really so close. But last week we heard the Raheem of Sterling, again, that we've agreed to the fee. We're thinking maybe it's done. I actually, like I said, I did use a thumbnail that says Sterling to Chelsea done. But at that point, you could argue the agreement was actually not even close. So that's why I'm saying right now we should, cautiously, rejoice about this one until the player is announced. I wouldn't say it's done, but it's a good sign anyway. Personal agreeing personal terms with the player is a really good sign, which means the player has agreed for the move. If anything is left, it should be between the two clubs. But saying final details is not something I can sit here and tell you, okay, these things are what we have in the final details that the two clubs are trying to sort out. It will be very, very wrong of me. So we don't know what that is. Again, some other news here, I will be taking them one by one. I'm seeing that the Udinese news that True Blue just told us about. Chelsea will play a preseason friendly away at Udinese on Friday, July 29th at 3 p.m. kickoff local time. I'm not sure, 3 p.m. kickoff local time. I'm not sure what local time, Italian time, UK time, or the US time, but that's from Adam Newson. So he's probably you're referring to the UK time. Jens Felix says, hello, bro. I am Felix from Nigeria. Nice to see you, my Nigerian brother. I am happy with the new Samuel 7 concerning Raheem Sterling. And I am confident that Chelsea will do better this week. Like I've said before, again, it's just like a floodgate. Once it is open, it never stops. Hopefully, this is a sign that the floodgate will be opened soon. If you ask me, I'd say at this point, the floodgate is slightly open. So the moment it's completely open, we will see that Chelsea all along have been well and truly hard at work behind the scenes. But we can be. That is, the Chelsea fans are very impatient. And again, the surprising aspect to me is this: no matter how you try to explain to people, not to ask people, to get people not to panic, that the club is well and truly hard at work behind the scene. They don't listen. They just want the club to pay whatever money that other clubs are asking, which will set a dangerous precedent. Other clubs in subsequent deals that we're involved in will sense a desperation and will milk the life out of us in terms of, if they wanted 100 million, the moment they see Chelsea, they ask for 200 million. So it doesn't make sense. And most of Chelsea fans easily have forgotten that we were actually under restrictions 2 months ago or so that stopped us from getting players to put pen to paper and wrapping up their signing, even though we were allowed to talk to them, but we couldn't get them to put pen to paper so we can call it a wrap and bring in and say, okay, we've signed a player A, B, C, or D. That on its own was a serious setback. Even Thomas Tuchel himself did say it publicly how bad that was for the club. Here's my brother, Jules CFC, my fellow American. Nice to see you here, bro. I hope you're doing well. And he says, smash that like button. Again, I'm proud of those in the chat or wherever you're watching from. We have 49 people watching, 50 people watching right now, and 24 likes. That is not easy at all. So I appreciate that. Again, let's shoot for 200 likes by the end of the show, and I know we can do that. We did it in the morning. We can also do it this evening. Yes, CFC says, let's go, Starling incoming. Yes, I do believe it's happening. A personal agreement with the player is to get signed, like I've said before. That simply means the player wants to come. And again, we must take it seriously. And I want it to happen because the moment it happens, that will calm the nerves of the Chelsea faithful down. It's had most of them, don't believe that the club is really working hard to bring on players. Hopefully, the Leeds next. I'm seeing the Leeds to be, the second signing because I think the club, we really want them. Even the Bayern is, they're trying also to get the player, but their approach isn't to pay more money than we've offered the Juventus. Their approach is to convince the player to want to come to them. But I've heard that Thomas Tuchel, that he's also spoken with the player, and the player also would like to come to England. So, but again, these things are hearsay, spoken with the player or not, are all speculations. There are no way to tell if he had spoken with Thomas Tuchel or even Nagelsmann of Bayern. So those things that the German media, they may be, throwing those things out there, just to get Chelsea, to give up on him or something like that. But I don't want to go into that. So Ligt hopefully will be the second signing. And already you can see the window. We're not even halfway into the window, but we're doing some good business. From a Nigerian, I just subscribed to you. Thank you very much, Chris Clever Harrison, my Niger brother. I sincerely do appreciate you subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't, please share the video with everybody, tell them about Chelsea Perspective. That will be good. And like I've always told you, please keep liking the video. I'd rather you like the video than you donating your hard-earned cash to the channel. The likes do more for the video because the more for the channel, the more you like the video, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered, and the more the video will be pushed to people who would be interested in this particular topic, and the more fun the show will be. So thank you very much for subscribing. You also said supposedly Juventus looking at Koulibaly. Yes, I've heard that. And when I heard that, my argument was that even Juve, if they really want Koulibaly, then we have a problem because there's a chance if they want him, they'd say, yeah. And again, I'm from what I've heard, Chelsea preferred, that is, if the club would take one of the two players, it would be Ligt. So if Chelsea understand that Ligt is, if Juve understand that Chelsea's priority is Ligt, they may well say, okay, if you want to get Ligt, we heard that you're going after Koulibaly too. We want a Koulibaly assist or replacement. So you're going to let that one go, and we let you get this one. It's a mutual agreement that benefits both the Juventus, that will benefit both Juventus and Chelsea football clubs if it comes down to that. And again, Koulibaly himself, if he's married and he has kids, usually before players move to clubs, they do consider how it will affect their families. So if Koulibaly has kids who's already learning in Italian, moving to England wouldn't be easy. So he may well decide to move to Juve, which is also a big club. Again, we don't know. We're not sure what's going on there. So if you're in the chat, yep, thank you very much. For those of you that have told me where you're watching from, I know where my brother Yusuf CFC is watching from. And for those of you that haven't told me where they're watching from, please do so. That will make me happy, and I sincerely do appreciate that. And again, I want to say this. Do I want a Koulibaly and Ligt and also Jules Kounde? If he give me the opportunity, if we can sign the three of them, that will be good. That will fortify our defensive line for years to come. And again, you could say it has balance of experience. Koulibaly is a very experienced defender and a good one at that. Jules Kounde, even though he's still young, has garnered enough experience, to be good enough to help us lead the back line. Same thing as a 21-year-old. How old is Ligt again? I don't remember exactly. But Ligt himself, he's garnered enough experience, even though he's still very young and is capable of leading the back line. What I like the most about Ligt is his versatility. He's so good that even in a back three system, he can play on the right-hand side. He can play on the left-hand side. He can also lead the back three from the central area of the defense. Even in the back four, he can lead the back line too. He's that good. And again, 22. Thank you very much. I see that from Lee. And here, New Jersey, I knew that already, bro. So, like I said, I know where you're watching from, but thank you for kindly saying that. Watching from Jamaica, Omar Dunk, nice to see you, bro. I hope you're doing well. Again, I appreciate you taking some time to say that. Watching from Spain, thank you, Chris Clever Harrison. I appreciate you saying that. The Ligt is 22, says Lee. I appreciate that. Again, I hope we'll get them. And again, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic about the Raheem Sterling deal, because I've seen worse in my life since I follow him football. He's going to be 23 in August. Yeah, he's still very young and have garnered enough experience for his age. So again, if we can get him over the line, because if we're really rebuilding, we need more younger players than older players. Yes, balance is important, but we need a mix of both. Not too many older players, just a few of them, like having one or two of them in the defensive area, one experienced player in the midfield area, and one experienced player in the attacking area will be enough, to give the team the balance it needs, so that we can still do well while we're in the rebuilding process. So again, let me see anything else there. Anything else? What else we should talk about that I have listed here? Again, I'm really, I wouldn't say I'm concerned, but it doesn't look like we're talking to too many defenders. And there's something we talked about in the morning that seems about right. The concerns, or the input of those that were on the panel in the morning, seem about right. The fact that Chelsea are not that serious about signing Jules Kounde, and the rumors out there are that he was never Thomas Tuchel's choice. There's a chance that's the case, because it doesn't look we're serious about getting him. But there's another argument. It may well be that Tuchel wanted him, but at this point prefers Ligt to Jules Kounde. We don't know what it is. There's a chance at the end of the day we get them both. So we can't really say what's the truth and what's not. I think he's a very good player for us. He will be a good player for us if we eventually sign him. Again, it's never going to be that simple. Some people are calling for Chelsea to just give Juventus the money they're asking for and get the player. Again, the truth remains, giving Juve the money they're asking for isn't enough. What if the player doesn't want to come? But I wouldn't say he doesn't want to come, because we've heard before that he wants to play in England. And we've also heard that he likes how Thomas Tuchel, how he trains his defenders. He feels like there's a lot he can learn. He can learn from Thomas Tuchel. And we're learning also that Thomas Tuchel himself played a key role in Chelsea, getting Raheem Sterling to sign. with the club. To agree personal terms because he hasn't signed until it's announced officially. And by the way, people, we have 63 people watching. That's not easy given that the England women they're playing a Euro match right now. Again, if you haven't, take a second to like the video, and also please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you're in the chat and you have a question, shoot it in the chat, and I'll try to address it. Again, we also have the Dembele case is something that I do not understand what's going on. It doesn't sound like he was ever serious to join us. We had people who announced, some. I'm not going to call people names because there's a chance that he may have agreed to come to Chelsea. I don't know how truthful that is. We had someone who announced that he was coming towards. He signed a five-year deal. It turns out from what we're hearing, the indications are that was never the truth. Now, for Laporta, who is the Barcelona president, to come out and say that they are optimistic that Dembele will put pen to paper, again, that's that confuses me. That shows that we're never serious. Again, there are so many reasons why to come to the conclusions that Chelsea were never serious to sign him, because we offered him even a lower pay than he used to earn at Barcelona, and probably a lower pay than they're trying to offer him right now, because he was at 300 and something per week, and we offer him around 115 or 118. I can't recall how much exactly that True Blue mentioned in the chat the other day. It says Tiyokuma Mokhtar, watching from Cotonou, my African brother. Nice to see you here, and thank you very much. Okay, okay, thank you very much. I will do that in a bit. Me and Ty want to jump on. You and Ty at the same time want to jump on? I haven't seen Ty tell me he wants to jump on. If Ty wants to jump on, he should tell me that. Okay, I see Ty here. I didn't know. I thought maybe he'd be busy with something. That's why I haven't sent him the link. But Ty, give me a minute. Let me send you the link. If you want to come on, I'm going to get the link here. All right. Let's give me 1 second, people. There you go, Ty. And there you go, you here. I appreciate you too finding the time to try to join me. Okay, now coming back now, looking at what we have, what we're talking about here. A lot, again, what this proves to us, again, maybe I sincerely do hope the news that we're on the verge of signing Raheem Sterling, and that he signed a personal agreement with us, changes the mind of so many Chelsea fans who's been so negative. It's really concerning, and even some, don't care about the issues we're suffering. Some don't care about, the restrictions that stop us from signing players. It's just mind-blowing how else do I phrase it? How it's possible that we're not looking beyond those issues. It is really concerning indeed. Again, I'm going to welcome Jules to the panel. Jules, how are you doing? Welcome to the second show of the day. How's everything with you? I hope you're well.
I'm good, bro. Big up, Stella. Is it a party stream about Sterling? Let's go.
Yeah, so go ahead. Tell me what you think about the news we're hearing. Would you call it a party yet? He hasn't signed for the club. The news we're hearing is that he's got, he's agreed personal terms with the club. That doesn't mean he's signed.
Yeah, I know. I feel that the personal agreement, the deal, wages will be sorted tomorrow and it'll be announced tomorrow, I reckon. So I'm positive about Sterling. I feel that he's gonna come in and he will get the start with the ground running, and I reckon it will thrive at Chelsea.
Can you tell me why you're so sure? Why you're so sure that he's gonna come and he'll hit the ground running?
Because he knows Chelsea. He knows Chelsea from playing against us. Like, he knows how we are normally, how we play, and I feel confident that I will thrive under Tuchel. That's what I feel.
You're confident indeed. I hope that happens. Ty, welcome to the panel. How are you doing?
After the Sterling news, I feel a bit happy. I Part of what Jules just said, I can agree with, but I do think that part of it has to do with the other signings that we make, because I still think that he can come in and do a job for us, but I think it also comes down to if we add to creativity, because I think we need that, because at Man City he has the creators like De Bruyne, he has Morris who can do it sometimes, and he has Bernardo Silva and other players like that. So I think it would be important that we get in players that can add to creativity and create clear-cut chances, and not just chances that are just stats, really, but chances that actually can lead to goals. So I think in that sense, I think he can do good, but it also comes down to if we actually do make signings. But you never know.
So you think are you seeing him as a creator? Is that what you're seeing him, or as a finisher? What part of? I just want to understand.
Finisher.
I mostly see him as a finisher, because I don't really think he has that creative role as much. He does have that role to play, for England and for Man City. But I do think that the role that Tuchel may look at him as is probably as a finisher, in terms of first time system, using him wide, and trying to get him to use his space and try to finish. I think maybe that is probably the main focus, and then if you can add creativity, it's a plus, and I think that is what we need as well.
Yep.
But his numbers in terms of chance creation, recent, that is in the past 2 years. Are you okay with that? Is it around the numbers you would want? Is it better than what we have already? That's a question I'd like us to answer sincerely. I'll start with you, Ty. You tell me.
I have to look back at on his amount of assists compared to goals. I was looking at it, but I don't remember where it was. But I do think that compared to what we have, I think for right now we're solely relying mostly on Mason Mount to create for us. So I think in that sometimes we do have other attackers that do it, but it's not really consistent. And I think Sterling. On the Tuchel, I think Tuchel probably explained this, because we were hearing that he's the conversation that he had with Sterling really gave him that feeling that making a move to Chelsea would probably be good for him. So I think in that sense, Tuchel would explain that role, give him an idea of what he would ask him to do, what he would demand for him to do. So I think in that sense, although his stats at Man City aren't really as impressive, I think Tuchel has a plan for him in terms of creation, but I also do think that it has to do with the fact that if he doesn't understand the role, and if he has a selfish attitude of trying to finish every chance that comes his way, and even if it's not even if it's not possible, and it's an impossible situation, then maybe that may be the only issue. But I do think Tuchel probably would have explained to him that if he comes to the club, this is what he's asking him to do, what he hopes he can do, and what he expects him to offer to the team.
How about you, Jules? How do you see him as a finisher, a creator, or you think he can provide both in acceptable numbers? While you at it, I'll try to look at his stats. I'll just Google it. I think it pops up easily. Go ahead, Jules. I want to hear from you.
I think the reason why we're buying Sterling is because we need goals from every side of the area, in the attack area. I'm talking about wingers. I'm talking about wingers going up and attacking the defense, the opposition defense, and we need that, because we haven't seen that much from our wingers, have we? We're talking about, we have now and again, but not consistently. And this is the thing: our wingers need to be consistently. We need wingers that are consistent. And Sterling, I think he brings that to the table.
Yeah, I think his numbers aren't that bad either. Let's just look at it in 2021, 22, 13 goals, Premier League goals, and 5 assists. 2020, 2021, 10 Premier League goals, 7 assists. And in 2019, 2020, 20 goals. I think 2019, they still have silver then?
I see 2018, 2019, or 2019, 20.
Yeah, I'm saying like 2019-20, they still had silver. He had 20 goals and 1 assist.
I think that was his last year, and then he left.
Last season. Yeah, it's last season.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, 2019, he had 70 goals, more assists that year. And I think 2017, 2018, he had 18 goals and 11. This is the form I want him to replicate at Chelsea this year. This is his best year. And like I think it was Rodrigo that argued on this panel that a few days ago. Was it Rodrigo or maybe IBZ? That if we get Sterling, we should get some players around him that will be his Chelsea silver. And I think Kai Havertz is capable of doing that. Because Kai is actually creative, but because of the personnel we have, he hasn't played consistently in the positions where you could argue are his positions Ty. I think he would do well at Chelsea, and I know I've argued that before, but what I'm concerned about, I don't want Tuchel to get him and then start playing him as one of the 2-8. Maybe he has plans to change the system. If he has plans to change the system to get Sterling to play mainly on the flanks or as false 9, I think he will do well for us. Ty, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that is something that is actually true. And you see, what you just said about Havertz, this is something that I always preach. People see Havertz as a 9. And I don't see. I don't think Tuchel sees him as a 9 because he gives him that role. I mean, people don't. I think he's better wider than when he comes in central. I think that's his best role. But I think right now, because of the person that we have and how little fluidity we have without somebody who has that pressing ability and can create, we don't really see Havertz really being in his best position. And I do think he's better as a supporting striker, which is why I always stress that. Getting in 9, not a target man, but a finisher in a sense. Vern was supposed to be like that, but unfortunately, it didn't really work out in that way. And I mean, it's still early. We could still see Werner improve in that regard. Him and Havertz have that connection. They have that connection together, and they always create for each other. So I think in that sense, if we're able to get a finisher in, or have somebody be as clinical as a finisher, we could actually see Havertz at his best, and then he can add to his assist. Because people don't think he's creative, but I do think he's not an Ozil, but he can create. So I think in that sense, if Havertz gets the freedom to really put in his preferred position and in an ideal position where it would be easier for him to get more assists and add to his creative stats. Maybe then the perspective would change about him.
Even in 2020, 20 goals, but just 1 assist, all in Premier Leagues. I think he didn't create that much. Maybe it depends on where he was deployed. Yeah. Again, in 2020, 2021, I think he started playing less and less games the moment they signed Grealish.
Yeah.
Was that the case? I think Grealish actually hasn't come close to doing what it doesn't look like. The signs aren't good. It doesn't look like he'd be able to do what Sterling has done at that club. So actually, you could argue Sterling is actually an absolute steal for us at that price. Maybe because he has just 2 years left on his contract, right? If I'm correct.
Yeah.
And
he's got a year. He's got a year's contract.
He's got a year left, but because he's a good player, if we don't go for him, I think some other club will come for him. He's that good. Again, that was a time Real Madrid was looking at him, and he's just 27. As 27, we can get 5 more years from him, and he's a fine player overall. And there's a chance. There's this saying that another man's food is another man's poison. Another man's poison may well be another man's enjoyable food. There's a chance he does even better under Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel has proven that when he really wants a player, if he gets that player, I think he turns them into a beast, if you prefer. Don't mind my language, and I mean it in a good way. But that's by the way. Let me try and catch up with the chat, and we'll come back again because I want us to deep dive into how we think Thomas Tuchel is going to use them at Chelsea Football Club. Again, we must be cautiously optimistic because it's not over the line yet. We're hearing there are some details, to finalize, and some details could mean quite a lot of details because we're not there. But we'll learn, and also the hard way, that we shouldn't count a player as signed until that player is holding a shirt, and the club puts out an official statement. Again, that's by the way. I said hello, people. Again, Jamaica. I know that. I love you, brother. Simon from Nigeria, thanks for the update. Joe Jugger, thank you also for joining the channel. Already we've earned up to like almost 10 subscribers already, and we have 41 likes. While we have 74 people watching. So if you haven't, we want to shoot at least 400 likes by the time we reach 1 hour mark into the show, which is 15 minutes more. So if you haven't, please take a second to like the video. And like I've always told you, I'd rather you like the video than donating your hard-earned cash to the channel. There are other ways the channel can make money. But thank you for watching, even if you're not in the charts. Thank you for watching, even if you're in the chat too. And thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for helping the channel to get to where it is today. We're closing in to 4,000 subscribers. And I believe that will happen in a few days if we continue at this pace. So if you haven't, please take a second to like our video and also do subscribe to the channel. OBA Nathaniel says, bro, is Sterling going to be done in the next 24 hours? That's what we're hearing, but I can't tell you yes or no because I'm not at the table where they're negotiating or, you know, dealing with the final details as reported. But there's hope. And what I said during the start of the show is this, like one of the journalists that cover Chelsea stories said, again, it will be like a floodgate. Once it's open, it's the signings are gonna be coming like this to Chelsea Football Club. Right now, you could argue the floodgate is slightly open, and to the surprise guys of most people who thought that maybe the first signing on the Todd Bowley will most likely be Ousmane Dembele or Jules Kounde, but we're seeing it's likely, there's the likelihood it will be Raheem of Sterling. So, but that's, by the way, it says first signing through the door now, let the floodgate open. It is slightly open, just open. Kronos Dan, nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. And I sincerely do mean that. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you very much for saying that. Sterling is a creative player who improved his finishing while at Man City. Some will argue otherwise, but you could argue those misses comes down to, there was a time I think he was lacking in confidence. There was a time also people thought he was on his way out of Manchester City. But then again, you have to look at the statistics here to learn what a player he can be, especially what was the year we looked at again? This year from here, 2019, 2020, he had 33 goals. He played 33 matches, scored 20 goals and just 1 assist. But the goals matter a lot. Again, like we're all on the panel, I agreed. It all depends where he was deployed at that point. 2018, 2019, 34 appearances, 17 goals and 10 assists. He had the most assists in the 2017, 2018 season with 18 goals, which isn't bad. I think he can come back to this form and become even better. But we have to give him a chance. We have to support him if eventually we complete his signing. But that's, by the way. And here, let me see what else I have in the chat. Thank goodness it's not that too many. Glenn gets to join us this evening. Glenn, how are you doing, brother? I honestly do mean that. I hope you're doing well. He says, good evening, coach, panel and chat. Finally, summer of progression. Yes, that's a better way to phrase it because the deal isn't over the line yet. Get your Rex jokes in now before Sterling officially signs. Yep. Thank you. I like how you phrased it. That's a delicious comment, by the way. It's a good move, but Chelsea need a top 9 a strike, a good finisher. That's the same movie we've watched before. The same story again. We don't need that, really, under Thomas Tuchel. We don't need that. We need all the front 3 guys to be able to finish the chances when it comes to them. We're not going to get on a traditional striker, and then we have a point of reference in terms of us scoring goals, and that creates even more problems for us than than being a solution, just as the Lukaku case. Lukaku isn't a bad player, but he just doesn't suit the way we play. And if you sign another traditional striker, that striker may well go through the same thing. Rico63, evening to you all, an Everton fan who loves our channel. Rico, nice to see you back. And Rico, we're in the branding process of the sister channel, which launched in a month's time or less or more, because I want it to be perfect before it launches. I will be covering all football clubs, and I want you to be part of it. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you updated as the plans for the launch progresses. Good evening, True Blue, watching you from Ghana. Thank you very much, my Ghanaian, my West African brother. Nice to see you here. can't wait for the first signing on the Bali era. I can't wait either. Bro, we'll answer this in a bit. Or Ty, do you want to take this question?
Yeah. I'll answer it very quickly. Okay, so basically, the report about Chelsea being ready to bid 40, if I'm not mistaken, 45 million euros. Is it that?
Something around that number?
Yeah. That is not true. They would they're looking at it, but nothing has happened. They've not gotten in contact with his representative or his agent, which is in this case Jorge Mendes. So I don't think that this should really be looked at right now. The priorities right now is to look at the attack, the defense, and then the midfields. I do agree with that pattern, but that is the way that the club are deciding to go. So the defense is also the main priority, and the attack, possibly bringing in another attacker, is the goal, and then the defense, and then whatever is left is the midfield. So right now, they're not really looking to go for him right now, but they are looking at the situation, and also they're looking at the young, possibly, find other options, because Declan Rice is someone that they still want to try for, despite West Ham saying he's not for sale. Although I always say that you don't put a price on someone that's not for sale, so you never know.
Yeah, if you really don't want to sell the player, you'd clearly say this player is not for sale at any amount. Deals, do you have anything to say about the Matheus Nunes rumors?
I think it's just agent push. I reckon it's a Mendes trying to do his ways. He's trying to get his players to move on. I think it's like a agent type of talk, because obviously he was talking to Toboli about apparently Ronaldo, but I don't know about that one. But we'll wait to see about that one.
Again, that's a chance. It is the truth. There's a chance maybe the club put out, engineered a counter, you could say rumor or information just because they like to anonymously, get the deals done behind the scenes, but we don't know. But I think a bit of from what I've seen, again, you can't trust a clips of videos showing where the player is just doing the good stuff and not the bad stuff. But we'll see what happens if it comes.
I like what Ty said about how if we do get that deal done, no one knew about it, so that would have been looked at like we're moving silent in deals, basically. So I like what Ty said about that.
Yeah, I hope it happens. Right now we have 81 people watching and we have 46 likes. We're shooting for 100 likes by the time we get to 1 hour mark into the show. So please, if you haven't, take a second to like the video. Sam, Ty, again, I'll come back to the panel again. I know we alluded to it a bit, but let me just read this. Victor Angayere says, if we don't sign a striker, we're going to leave a lot of chances in the table. We have already seen that happening in the time Tuchel has been with us. But then again, what happened when we signed him a striker? What happened with Tammy Abraham? What happened with Olivier Giroud? What happened with PSG? What happened with Edson Cavani and Mauro Icardi, who was signed? I think Edson Cavani was there before he arrived, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Mauro Icardi was signed under his reign at PSG. What happened to those players? He didn't use them that much. So it wouldn't make sense. Again, if we're going to get in a striker, I'd say let's keep him under Broja, but I doubt the kid would want to stay if he sense that he will sit most of the time on the bench because the manager prefers fluidity up front. The difference is that Broja is still very young and may well learn to be a hybrid number 9 instead of an out-and-out or a traditional number 9, if you prefer. So I'm not saying we shouldn't get a striker, but we shouldn't go for one where we spend half of what we have on, and then it would just be for the sake of having a striker on the bench. The manager will use the striker occasionally and not as often as we want to. He's not the one to use traditional number 9s. But I get your argument, brother. Bro, any information about the striker we're signing for this season? Because I wouldn't put Sterling as a false 9 because of his pace. Again, I hope you just you heard everything I just talked about. Ty, you come into about having a traditional number 9 under Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, I think under Tuchel, it's not something that really works. And I mean, it's not only Tuchel. A lot of managers, barring Pep, who's signed Haaland, and Darwin Nunes at Liverpool,
But let's address this quickly, Ty. How old is Haaland?
Haaland is 21, 22.
So, which means I'm thinking Pep believes he will get him to play. That his role will be hybrid. His role won't be you and I know Pep won't play him as a number 9 that will always stand there and be waiting for the crosses and all that. He gets involved in the play. So go ahead.
Yeah, and I was it's okay. So he said Obi says he's 23. Anyways, that was what I was trying to say. Even though in terms of that, it's down to if the player is open to making a movement that needs to be done. Because Haaland is not like in the case of Lukaku, where Lukaku wants the ball to come to him and then he tries to finish it. Haaland creates as well. I mean, he did that at Dortmund, and I mean he's a player that he'll create for himself. He'll go in aggressively for the ball. That it still remains to be seen if he does that at City. But I think maybe Pep will ensure that he does that. But I think in terms of with Tuchel and traditional number 9s, we had two, and we saw both of them. And I think linking back to Haaland, he wanted Lewandowski, two particular targets that actually have that personality or that characteristic of being a creator for their other attackers. Sancho and Haaland used to have that good partnership, and I mean after Sancho left, he had to develop a new one with different players. I mean Lewandowski is known for creating, and he's also known for scoring. He does it for Poland, and he also does it for Bayern Munich in certain cases. So I think in terms of that, traditional number 9s are not really Tuchel's cup of tea. And I know you've mentioned this in the past as well. He had Cavani, he had Icardi at PSG, although Icardi is a mixture of both a traditional 9 and probably a wide forward. So I think in terms of that, it's down to Tuchel not really based on the way Tuchel likes to play. Tuchel likes to play with fluidity and quick moving of the ball, 1-2 touches off the ball. He doesn't want players to really be holding onto the ball for too long. So that is why I think in terms of that, he wants certain players that will lay off the ball simple, and that's why Mbappe works so good with it. But I think Mbappe works with any manager per se, because Mbappe is not really a traditional number 9. He's a player who who drifts wide, comes in from the left, comes in on the right, and he's able to do things like that. So I think in terms of that, it's important to know that Tuchel didn't really have good fondness of those traditional number 9. He would have to play Cavani when it was possible and when it's necessary, and Cavani would do the job for him. But I mean, it wasn't really his cup of tea to say that I'm going to be starting Cavani every game or each game that is possible. And
he frustrated the player.
Yeah, so he barely played him in that sense. So in that sense, I think traditional number 9 is not really Tuchel's profile. He likes to go with players who play as a false 9 or as a wide forward, which is why he's going for Sterling in that sense, where when you have a traditional number 9, you're more predictable, because people know that if you take out that focal point of that number 9, it's difficult, or they're going to have to find an alternative of using their wingers or the wide forwards or inside forwards to get goals in. So I think in that sense, he wants to have that lack of predictability, and that's why Havertz was being utilized in that way, because with a false 9 system, it means that they don't know who to mark. You have, for example, at Chelsea, you have Hudson-Odoi who's wide, Pulisic, Mount, players like that can actually come in and finish the chances when you're marking one player. So that is why I think he's going for players that if they drift wide, you have someone who's coming in central, and then the role switches with each attacker.
Yeah, thank you very much for that brilliant response. We have 7 people watching, and we're still at 47 likes. Please, people, keep liking the video. That will make us, the panelists, very happy. Again, thank you very much again, Ty. Jules, you have anything to add to that before I go to SBU and my co-host, Louisa, who's found time to join us? She had a bit of technical issues, but I'm glad she's there with us right now.
But the striker situation.
Yeah, the comment on the screen. Do you think we should actually consider signing number 9? Especially one that will cost us anything north of 50 million under Thomas Tuchel, given the examples we've went through.
I feel that we shouldn't be going out for another striker, unless wait till next summer, and we could maybe go in for another striker next summer, not this summer, because there's not really much on the market right now. If you're looking at all the signings at the moment, and the strikers out there at the moment, there's not really much that we could go for. Unless it's Ronaldo, but Ronaldo is a different conversation.
Ronaldo is a different conversation indeed, and you don't want to start that fight with me. But that's by the way. Again, SBU, my brother. I think it looks like evenings work best for you because I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good and you, man. No, thank you for having me back.
I can't complain. More importantly, thank you for finding time to join us on the panel. Just straight up to the question, SBU, your thoughts on this brother here, albeit Nathan, calling for us to look for a traditional, practically a traditional number 9. Because when people talk about, your thoughts, do you think it's something we should go for?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with the previous speaker here. I don't think we should be rushing into buying a number 9. It looks like the number 9 curse at Chelsea is still going on, and it's probably, I think it's usually the late and the panic buys that we get. We often think that we desperately need a number 9 to win the league, but as we've seen with Man City, like they haven't had a number 9 in the last 2 years, and they've really been doing well. So I think with the inclusion of Sterling in our squad, we should give Kai Havertz, like a proper chance to go at the number 9 position. He's shown that he can do the same for Germany, with of course the support of Timo Werner and all those other guys with experience in Germany.
So you're talking about playing 2 strikers up front, not like pairing him with Timo Werner, which is actually good because Timo does well as a second striker.
Yeah. And I do really see Sterling also coming in on the right because he's a very dynamic player. He's very flexible in terms of the role that he can play on a team. So whether we play him on the left or the right, that would make space for either a Mason Mount, a Riyad Mahrez, or a Timo Werner up front. So I think Sterling would definitely mount his place in the starting position, whether it's left on the right. And Kai Havertz should just go at it. So because there's really not much to chase in the market, really. It's Lewandowski, Martinez from Inter Milan, who's really not in the market per se. So there's not really much quality in the market. So the previous speaker was spot on. I don't think we should be chasing a number 9 right now. There's not much to choose from at this point. So I think we just need to go at it and give Kai Havertz a chance. And who knows, Timo Werner might shock us all this season.
That's a chance. You never know. And again, you make a good point. I think Lautaro Martinez would have been a perfect signing for Thomas Tuchel because he's this hybrid striker. He creates. He's also finishes very well. But before I go to Louisa, I want to get your thoughts on what we're hearing about Raheem Sterling. Are you excited? Are you confident that is one deal we can get over the line and that we're not going to see another Raphinha type of story?
No, I'm definitely confident that Sterling will commit to what he has agreed to in terms of his conversation with Tuchel and what they're trying to build at Chelsea. So I really trust that Sterling will come to Chelsea as promised. It's not like he was eyeing some other team. And besides, we are fully capable of paying that amount and his wages as well. I'm just glad that, we got rid of Lukaku and made space for someone like Sterling to pay his wages. So for me, Sterling has been a very interesting and exciting signing. Good Premier League experience. He's still at a good age. He can still peak. So yeah, I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I'm happy and I'm cautiously optimistic. Again, I hope if it like I said before the start of the show, it is like the floodgate is slightly open because my argument has always been once we get in of the first signing in, it will be like the floodgate has been opened and the signings will start coming in like this. But SBU, thank you very much. That's why I always like having you on the panel. I will still come back to you, Louisa. This question, because this is a Q&A session, I want you to take this question. It says, who is the proposed defenders or who are the proposed defenders that Chelsea are signing? Again, can you take that question?
So the defenders that we'll be looking at, we already know about Ligt, and we know that it's kind of shaky right now because of Bayern, and there's Koulibaly, but Koulibaly also is being eyed. Is being eyed by Juve, and the only hope about the Koulibaly deal before was because Ligt was going to go, and Koulibaly was coming in as a replacement for Ligt, which meant that we thought Ligt was coming to Chelsea, but now it's looking like it's kind of on the on a knife edge. But we're trying to get Ligt over the line because we're saying that the news around is that Ligt is going to Bayern, and he wants to go to Bayern, but Bayern does not have not met the terms that Juve wants to get him. So we do not know what we're getting here. Even the Kounde deal also too, we don't know where it stands right now, but those are the defenders who are looking at. And I'm thinking maybe why the Sterling deal too why we've not seen that City accepted the Sterling deal was because, which they are probably going to accept at the end of the day, because we also want Nathan to come in as part of the defense. So those are the people we've been linked with so far: Koulibaly, Kounde, and the deals have just been like, I feel like we'll get Sterling in before we even get in a defender as it is right now, because that's the closest deal that we've done.
Yep. Again, before that is around 5 minutes into the show, I talked about how I'm not sure how many defenders the club is talking with right now, and that's the truth. The Koulibaly to Chelsea rumors seem to have died down a bit, and also Jules Kounde to Chelsea also seem to have died down a bit. It is a delete and who again, Net and Ake, but we'll see what happens. I'll try and catch up with the chat, and I'll start with you again, Louisa, with how you think Raheem Sterling will fit into our team if eventually we get the deal across the line, because we have to be, cautiously optimistic. Thank you for this update here, Butko. I appreciate that. Joe Joga says, Joe Jogger from Nigeria, we need a replacement for Alonso. That's a very good point, but he hasn't left yet, and it's looking like Barcelona. I'm hearing they've turned their attention to Tagliafico. I think, did I pronounce the name correctly? And not Alonso. And Alonso is considering putting a transfer request, but we'll see what happens. Again, thank you, Mason. Let's see. Mari R says we don't need a number 9. We need players that can finish the ball in front of the goal. We play a positional football. That is just very correct. So that qualifies as a delicious comment. The first one for the day here says, if things don't move with the lead, we should be all over Koulibaly. Heard Juve is preparing a 30 million bid. We could raise that. Just quickly, let me come to you, SBU. I think Ty and I have talked about this before. Ty, if not, I'll come back to you with that question. SBU, now we're hearing that Juventus, they want a Koulibaly and Chelsea wants the lead. And if Chelsea really wants the lead, I've suggested before that there's a chance that Juve comes to the table and say, okay, now you want the lead and we're willing to sell him to you, but we want you to just leave Koulibaly for us because we're trying to get him as a replacement. Do you think that that's even possible? And if that becomes an option for Chelsea, do you think they'd say, okay, you go ahead with Koulibaly, but give us the lead?
Okay, so first of all, if there's a player, that we're chasing and we are seeing signs that he's unsure or he's looking to accept an offer from another team, I think we should pull the plug immediately, especially if that information is coming from the player himself. I mean, history has taught us with Lukaku that as much as you can afford to buy a player and land the player in your club, if the guy doesn't want to play for the team, he's going to leave. And it was such a painful experience with Lukaku because we paid so much money for him. We definitely need to learn from these lessons. If you're going to get De Ligt for whatever, 87 million, which is a larger number that Bayern Munich would bid, if his heart is not to play at Chelsea, if he doesn't wear the blue, he doesn't want to wear the blue uniform and, die for the club, he's going to leave in a few years. Probably leave on loan. He's probably not going to perform on the pitch. So immediately when I saw all of those headlines, I'm like, you know what, we should be pulling the plug on Ligt. He doesn't look like he's interested. Get someone else who wants to come. So I know Kounde, before he went to play his international games, he was coming to he was actually in London. I'm not sure what he was doing, but we've seen snaps of him touring around London, having a look at the play. So that was a player who was really interested in signing for Chelsea. And when it comes to Koulibaly, I think it would be a very good signing, because we know that he has ties with Mendy in the club. I think they play for the same team,
Country
and
level.
yes, at country level. So I think Koulibaly would be the best signing for us because he has that senior leadership experience that he has in Napoli. He would definitely gel well with Thiago Silva, who is another, a very big part in terms of our leadership. So whenever we are linked with players who don't want to come or who don't want to play for Chelsea, the likes of Raphinha and whatnot, we should definitely not be going for those players. I do think that we will get the Kounde signing through. I know Barcelona, can't afford to make those big signings at the moment, so I do think we will get much traction on the Kounde deal rather than the De Ligt one, because I think it's pointless. It really is pointless to sign a player who doesn't want to play for the club.
A counter question for you before I move on. You're for us pulling the plug on players who we've heard that they're not willing, they don't want to come to us. That's the preference. Other clubs, preferences. Other clubs. Do you think the same about the Raphinha case? That is in terms of when it comes to Raphinha's case. Do you think the same also?
Yeah, because the Raphinha deal is on the table. It's literally on the table. It's just up to him to take it. And Leeds really need the money because they haven't made major signings as well. So
Mhm.
all of this hold up is basically on the employee himself. I mean, sorry, the player himself. He has a dream for playing for Barcelona. He wants to play for Barcelona. De Ligt wants to play for Bayern Munich. We are a big club. We should not be holding up on transfer deals because players don't want to
Okay,
come.
just quickly. The reason I asked that question is just to make something on to explain something to you. Now, if we pull out of the Raphinha deal now, Arsenal will come in with even a little more than we've offered at Leeds, and Chelsea fans won't take that lightly. It will be if it's embarrassing now. It will be even more embarrassing if we pull out and Arsenal ends up getting him because they're still watching what's going on. So my point is the point I want to make, since we're already there, let's sit it out. If Barcelona is going to take him from us, they must pay more than we're paying. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. But I think Raphinha is not even interested or is not really looking at his salary pay or the transfer deal itself. He just wants to see himself playing for Barcelona. So it's quite embarrassing for us, really, to be begging a player to come to us. We shouldn't. We're a big club. We just shouldn't be.
Hmm. Ty, your thoughts on that?
I'm happy you came straight to me because I'm not gonna really I can get what he's saying, but for me the
And
underlying
just 1 second, if you're watching, I shared the link to Ty Talks YouTube channel. Please go check out Ty Talks at CFC. Great content, a great YouTube channel. And if you want to learn more also about the anti-Glazers in the Chelsea, on the contract for Chelsea sale to Todd Bowley and the Clearly Consortium, that's a video has around 2,000 plus views right now. You need to go check it out. There's quite a lot to learn there. And also, please subscribe to his channel and be sure to let him know that I sent you. Ty, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for that. And yeah, with the Raphinha situation in particular,
Mhm.
right now, I know people are saying we should pull out of it because he has only his eyes on Barcelona. But at the same time, the way that we have to look at it as well is that based on the in a way of in terms of rules and regulations of how finance works, right now, our bid is the only accepted bid. We cannot pull out of something. It's like you're saying you're the leading bid in terms of buying a car, and then you're gonna pull out because the owner is friends with somebody else. That is basically not ethical really, because we have the only accepted bid right now, and in that sense, it means that our bid is the one to beat. So that means in terms of that, you cannot be pulling out of something when you're leading. The only time you can pull out is if Barcelona ends up magically coming up with more than 60 million. Because that's what they have to do. They have to offer more, because if Leeds accepts a bid that is of the same value, they're going to be paying compensation fee to Chelsea, because they're going to be, going, and they would be, making the contract or the negotiation fall apart in terms of Chelsea, because they're accepting something that they've already received or they have been promised by Chelsea. So in terms of that, I can't agree that we should just pull out or we should just forget about it when we've bidded for him, and the club his parent club has accepted our bid really. So in terms of that, the only way I can see us pulling out is if it becomes impossible. And plus, we've heard that Leeds have given Barcelona a deadline, which is supposed to be on Thursday, which is for some people tomorrow. So in terms of that, in that case, I really don't think the club are going to pull out, because I think they're looking at it from that perspective that Barcelona have to beat Orbit, and if they don't beat it, that means that the player has no other choice than to go there, because Leeds want to get him sold this summer so that they can get that money to get in players, because they want to start the rebuild for Jesse March as well, who's their new Leeds manager. So clearly they're going to want to get some money, and they really need the money. And I think that's what he was alluding to in terms of they want to get money, so they want to get him sold this summer. So for me, I don't really agree with that. And with Kounde, yeah, well, not Kounde, Ligt. With Ligt, I think in terms of that, it's hearsay, it's rumors. So in terms of that, you can't really buy into it really, because I mean, right now it's all over the place. We're hearing one moment Bayern Munich don't want to offer more than 65 euros, and now they're gonna happen to be paying 75 million euros. So in terms of that, it's all hearsay, and it depends on what you want to believe. Because if you're gonna look at it from the perspective that because they're so desperate for him, which I don't really think they are right now, they're going to be spending money, and they're not going to think about it really. I don't think so, because they don't really have enough money really, and the only way they will be able to finance a move like that is if they're able to get Lewandowski over the line to Barcelona, or get him to leave the club as he wishes to. So I think that's the only way. So in terms of that, I can't really agree that we should really pull out when we are really per se we have his personal terms agreed in a sense, if you want to say that. So in terms of that, I know that it looks as if he wants that. I think I also go back to what Just Viola said that in that stream once, that in terms of that, I think why am I talking about Lewandowski? I think Lukaku, what Lukaku done, the aftermath of that Lukaku situation is weighing on fans' mind. But we need to remember that in the past we've signed players that when they look at it and they realize that what, this club is in for me, I'm no longer gonna sign for Spurs. I'm not gonna longer sign for United or Real Madrid or something like that. So it's not that these players don't want to come to the club. It's not that they have their preferences. And I'm pretty sure as fans as well, we'd be hypocritical to say that they don't have a right to have their preferences, because we have our preference in terms of signings. So in terms of that, we cannot say that because he has his preferences, we don't want him. Because if players look at what fans think about them and say that what, they have Raphinha as their first choice, and they want to come for me, and in that case, let's speak about Cornet, for example. We don't get Raphinha, we go for Cornet. In terms of that, if you look at it and say that they want me now because they couldn't get their first choice, that I don't think they're going to think about that. They're going to think about the move. And in terms of the example he's with Cornet, he's at Burnley and they got relegated, and I'm pretty sure he wants to play top flight football. So I'm pretty sure he'll be open to a move back up to any team that are willing to pay the money. And I think he has a release clause that is 11.5 million, and that should be attractive to a lot of clubs, even if they don't have the finance on their side. So in terms of that, I can't really agree with in terms of saying that because he has preferences in both cases with players that we should pull out because he's doing that. Because the situation with Lukaku is different. He wanted to go back to a club where he did good. Neither of those players have ever played for, respectively, Barcelona or Juventus, so they can't be going back to a club that they've never been to. So in terms of that, it's not similar. People will say that he backstabbed us, but I mean, in terms of that, he was at the club before. None of these players ever played for them. So, I mean, it's not really like Lukaku. It's a situation where you're worried that his preferences, if they come in for him, he just leaves because that was his initial first choice. But I don't think that's the case right now.
Yeah, I will catch up with the channel and I'll come back to Louisa to get her opinion on that again.
Yeah, but Coach, let me say something on what Ty just said before it escapes my mind. Yeah, but Ty, I'm indifferent about whether we do get Raphinha or not. I'm not really concerned because his move was not really like one of the exciting parts of the summer for me. But your analogy about the car and when you go and bidding for a car, you are the highest bidder, but because someone comes in, you say you don't want to bid. That's not the correct analogy in this case. The analogy in this case is that you bid for a car, but the car does not want you to drive the car. The car wants another owner. That's the correct way of putting that car analogy.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to say that, you know,
personally,
but I didn't know if it would sound good. I thought it would have sounded weird because the car itself, unless it's a Tesla, honestly, if it's a Tesla, then maybe.
But that's the situation we find ourselves in. But personally, I don't think we should. The only reason why I don't think we should pull out is just because there's really not a lot out there anymore. Raphinha is one of the good ones that are out there. That's why I think we shouldn't pull out because we do need the players. That's the only reason. I don't really care if. I just hope that if we do get him, he ends up playing, giving his all while he's at the club, even if he ends up leaving. But as far as you are here and your mind and your body is at the club while you are there, then that's completely fine with me. Whether Chelsea is your most stated club or not, it's a job at the end of the day, and you should do it to the best of your abilities.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Let me quickly catch up with Shad again. If things don't move with the Ligt, we should be all over Koulibaly. Her Juve is propelling a 30 million bid. We could raise that a bit. I'd rather also get the Ligt again. He has selling value. He's still younger, way younger than Koulibaly. But that's by the way. Sterling is done. I think you can believe that. Actually, you can. Thank you very much. Please, guys, like the video. Yes, guys, keep liking the video. And if you haven't, take a second to subscribe to the channel. Also, it is free. It won't cost you anything. Right now, we need just 34 more likes to get to 100 likes. And I know we can do that by the end of the show. I like it. Nice to see that you like it. I liked it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I heard them say on ESPN that Chelsea created a lot of chances last season. Actually, they said if Chelsea had taken the chances that he created, he would have challenged City for the title. But that doesn't mean that we should go for a traditional striker. That's the same story we heard before we signed Romelu Lukaku. But I get your argument, and it makes perfect sense. I think we should go for Inter's Martinez just for the spite of it. That's a chance. Yeah, every player has a price. I think we should try it because it's a perfect Thomas Tuchel or, striker, if you ask me. But we don't know what's happening out there. I heard them say again, I think that's something you said before that I've read. You just posted it twice. I don't think we have ever won the league without someone who can bank in a lot of goals. The problem is that this coach cannot use a number 9. That's the point we're trying to make here. Maybe Sterling will be the guy to bang in a lot of goals, just 20 goals like he did in what year? I hope that happens. Guys, a friend told me Sterling is not a good signing. I tell your friend he doesn't know what he's talking about. Just do that immediately. Guys, who is Matheus Nunes? Luisa, you want to answer that? Do you know the player very well, or you want Ty to do that?
Yeah, Ty can do that. I've only seen YouTube comps since we've been really linked to him. I really don't know him outside YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know him that much either. Ty, you go ahead and help us with that one because this is a Q&A session, so we'll be taking a lot of questions out there.
Okay, so Matheus Nunes, this is a player that I don't think a lot of fans would really like to hear that we're linked with, because I think a DM is probably what they want. he's more of a center midfielder. He does try to defend. He's at Sporting Lisbon, or if you want to say Sporting CP. So in terms of that, he's a midfielder. He's 23, and he's actually Brazilian, but he moved to Portugal when he was 11. So he has citizenship in Portugal. So in terms of that, he's Brazilian by birth, but he technically has a green card in terms of being a Portuguese player. So in terms of that, he's a centimeter, like I said, and in terms of that, he creates, and he's quite similar to Kovacic if you want to use comparisons. He likes to dribble, but the shortcoming that he really has is the defensive strike. Like I said, he likes to try and help in the defense, but he doesn't really look impressive. And I think people probably, for those people who are neutral fans and they saw him play against Man City, they'll use that indication to say that he was really impressive on the defensive side, which is why, in terms of the creativity, I think that will be fine. But also, he's 23, so he's still young, and that means that he can still develop that. But I think right now, a more ideal player would probably be a DM, which is what we really need. But also think that at the same time, having somebody else who can actually fulfill that attacking role that Kovacic has in terms of dribbling and creating, like we saw last season, and considering that Kovacic will be in his prime this coming season, it means that you need to rotate with him, because I think him and Kante have been the one that's been injured a lot. So I think he needs to be playing games and be rotated with. So if Matthias was going to happen, which right now it doesn't look like that's the indication, because I think that DM is more ideal. In terms of that, it's someone who that the club may look at if everything else goes sour, in terms of if one of Kante or Jorginho leaves, and then they probably use that to say we get our centre mid and we also get our DM in.
Yeah, but good argument. Response to that one right there. Again, in a bit, let me see if we have anything to address that. I'll do that in a bit, Nick. How can we join with the debate? You have to contact me via Twitter, and I'll send you the link. I'm not going to share the link in the chat there because of the issues we've had in the past. I think the Kounde pursuit code down after he went for the surgery. I think they might just be watching how the situation pans out. That may well be the case. Did you know it's a Deco that has pushed Raphinha to play for Barcelona? But the argument is that if Chelsea ends up being the one that buy the player, that he gets more money. So I'm not sure how that helps him. But again, Barcelona is playing a bluff of poker. So I stay in the tad longer for Raphinha. Otherwise, he will sign for Arsenal, like Coach has said, and that will be absolutely, that will be even more embarrassing if we're thinking the situation is embarrassing right now. Good evening, says Christian Henry. Nice to see you, Christian. I hope you're doing what you can say. Guys, imagine if we pull out from the Raphinha deal, then Barcelona comes out and says we can now sign Raphinha, then Arsenal strikes and they succeed. That will be really, really shameful. And I truly don't want to see that happen. The Ligt will accept Chelsea's offer only if Chelsea offer Juventus 80 million. We'll see what happens. Again, 80 isn't that bad, but again, we can get him for less if you because Bayern ain't even matching anything around 75. I think that's what we're hearing. Again, I will skip to the very bottom of this comment there. I'm looking at those that has been blocked on this channel, some of which are just good participants in the chat. Why they were blocked, I just don't know. Yes, I read about Nunes and what. Let us know what you think about him, True Blue. I really do want to know why Raphinha agrees the deal and holding back. Again, it's something I'm not sure what's really going on there. A German first name, Portuguese second name, but he's a Brazilian. You're breaking up process that I'm guessing. Okay, that's by the way. Right now, coming back to the panel, I want us to delve into really how does Raheem Sterling fit into how we play, or how do you think Thomas Tuchel will utilize him? I'm starting with you, SBU.
Okay, so like I said, Sterling is a very flexible player. He can play either in the left or the right. If you look at Tuchel's way and system, much of his attacking threat really comes from the wing backs. And my heart would really break if I see Sterling playing at a left wing back position, because you know Tuchel has that tendency to put players at that position.
How about that's a number 8? Go ahead.
Say that again.
How about that's one of the 2 8s if we're playing 3 at the back system like Thomas Tuchel likes to deploy them?
That would be horrible.
It will, indeed.
We wouldn't want to see Sterling at a wing back position. But if you look at our chances that we've been creating last season, we really needed someone, to get that pace going in up front and who can be able to slow the play when he gets into the box. Now, I know that Man City fans have been having a lot of frustration on Sterling when he does that, but that was because maybe they don't have a number 9 to finish the play. But I think with us, it could be really great to get him inside the box, look at his options, and he's a very skillful player. I think he could bang a lot of goals. If not, he could get a lot of assists as well, because we know that Kai Havertz often gets them in than the famous Timo Werner. So I think whether he plays on the left or on the right, he's definitely going to make impact in that front line.
I think your argument makes sense. If Sterling has issues, if he comes to Chelsea and struggles, it will come down to how Thomas Tuchel decides to deploy him. But if he, plays him in his natural position, I do believe he would do well. I read it this morning, guys. Check it out. What are you talking about? Let us know at Chinwickham. If Sterling flops, it's time we acknowledge this issue isn't the attackers. It might just well be the manager. Again, already I think most of the issues with the attacking plays comes down to the manager's reluctance, to switch up the system, to play a system that will, allow the players the independence to operate how they naturally like to operate, and then we see the best of them. But again, the manager himself has a preferred style approach to the game, and he wants the players to adapt to it. Again, we may always see a lot of changes in the attacking area, but I think for obvious reasons, the club at this point will most definitely be prioritizing the defensive area and a bit signing in the midfield, which was why I argued that you could say the rebuild process is never going to be drastic. I think it will be systematic. A few signings this window and more during the January transfer window. But we'll see what happens. Ty, Luisa, coming to you. How do you think Tuchel will use him to get the best out of him? Or let's argue to get, for us to see the Sterling of 2019, 2020 when he got 20 goals, or Sterling of 2017, 2018 when he got 18 goals and 11 assists. Again, I want to hear from you.
Yeah, personally, I'm actually of the opinion that the way Thomas sets the players up kind of like stifles their offensive threats, which we've seen in the way Werner and Havertz, they are used in Chelsea compared to how they are used in Germany. Because at first we were thinking, okay, Bundesliga tax, that's why they are underperforming in the Premier League. But you kind of see how the things are different when they change up the situation. And I think Sterling is going to come in, and it's probably going to come in through the wings, because there's no way they are going to make Sterling the number 9, because he doesn't have that. I don't think he has the strength or the. He's fast, but I don't think he's still as spacey as he used to be to play as the number 9, not even a first 9. So he's probably going to the kind of role that Dembele would have played.
He's a good runner, though.
Yeah, but not even at City. You could see that when the defenders when he's the person that, because if he comes to Chelsea, it's going to be like part of the main attacking options with Havertz. At City, it wasn't the only it wasn't the sole focus. So when you see Premier League defenders like focusing on him, making sure that he's like removed from the game, you kind of notice that it's definitely not going to work if you use him that way. But it's going to come in to do the kind of things that Dembele would have done from the wings, and maybe we'll see him trying to like create a partnership with Havertz. I'm pretty sure Havertz will be the striker that will be starting ahead of like Werner. Havertz will probably be the one starting. So it depends on what Thomas. The only thing that I'm wary of is if Thomas decides to stay married to his philosophy that he's been using all the while. But I think it's actually going to be dependent on the players he does get in. He's probably going to see that, okay, this is what I have, and this is what I have to do to make sure that we get some decent results. It's not going to stay with what he used before. It's going to switch things up. Sterling is going to definitely have a different kind of role to what he did at City, and because he's going to be playing more games, more minutes, we'll have to just see. He'll probably play more than one position in that front and wing position.
Yeah, again, I think he will be everywhere, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, he doesn't deploy him where his creativity and his abilities will be stifled. But that's, by the way, here, all sport fan Adam says we need the Sterling to score 17, 18, 20 goals back-to-back season. If we don't get that, it's a waste of money. I will reserve. I will reserve my judgment, but he needs to become the main man he's claimed he thrives to be. Again, Rodrigo on the panel, I think 2 days ago, argued. Was it Rodrigo or was it? I think it was IBZ who argued that if we're getting Sterling, we need to get him another. We need to get him another. Silva, because during those times where he had the best of games, you can see it was down to how the chemistry he has with Silva. So we may well need another Silva at Chelsea Football Club to get the best out of him. But I think I sincerely deep down do believe that Kai Havertz can be that man. And I think his relationship on international level with Reece James and also Ben Chilwell, Mason Mount, and also, again, one of them also, what's his name? Conor Gallagher, I think will make a difference. He will feel more at home at Chelsea. You could argue that. So I'm going to go straight to Nick. Nick, your thoughts on what we're hearing about Raheem Sterling, that he's a great personal terms with Chelsea. That's a sign. That doesn't mean the deal is over the line yet. As I've talked about before, the floodgate is slightly open, not completely open yet until the first signing comes in. Nick, tell us how you feel about that and how you think he's going to do at Chelsea Football Club. Because if you want to see the stats where he was on fire, Nick could argue literally there was a time he was City's best, one of City's best players. I'd put that on the screen so you can see it yourself. Go ahead, Nick.
I know he was. It was, he came to Liverpool. He made his name at Liverpool. And when he first comes to City, he was scoring for fun. Yeah, I don't need to see that, I know. But, I didn't want Raheem Sterling, really, because I wanted someone, a big name player, big name attacker. Now, now he's coming. There's no doubt about it. It could be announced by Friday. I got it wrong saying last Monday, but I know he's good as our player now. They've agreed terms, agreed the money, and he's coming. It's 45 million. And, that's not a bad price for Chelsea, for Sterling. He's worth a lot more. So, that's one thing. And, now he's at Chelsea. He's a Chelsea player, so I have to back him. Of course, I want him to score. I want the team to win. And, and he's coming to get goals and create goals. I just hope he does it and proves me wrong, like he's still got, what he had in the Liverpool days, his young days at Liverpool and his early days at City. I want him to prove what a player he's still a great player. If he can do that, then I'll be singing his name, all the way down Fulham Road. So, that's true, coach. But he's a Chelsea player. They just have to get 24 hours it would take to finish everything off, and I think Monday he will be announced.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, he will. I guarantee it. And he's our player, coach. He's finished. He's done. And
I don't want any further delays because the fans are very anxious, and running out of patience.
So I I done a space the other day. It was called Impatient Chelsea. Why? Directed to our fans, especially the young ones. You know, they're so impatient. They don't know what patience is. I'm not very patient myself. I'm very impatient in life. But when it comes to Chelsea, I know, you know, we've been doing things really quiet, very quiet. We're looking at a lot of players. And this Barcelona, that idiot Laporta doesn't help it one bit. Because every player we're going after, he's telling them, "Oh, come to Barcelona." You know, that's what's going on. He's a crazy son. And and the other player I want to mention, because I heard today, Matheus Nunes. I haven't seen him much, but what I heard, you know, could be a great buy. Not a great, a well-known player. He's Portuguese, but Brazilian, something like that. But yeah, he's got a bit of German, Portuguese, and Brazilian blood, I think. But you know, he's only 23. He can play in the midfield. And that's his position, midfield, like Ty said, but he can play as a DM. That's what I heard.
From what I've seen, I can't judge him by the video, YouTube video clips alone.
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, I haven't seen him much, Coach, but what I heard about him could be a great signing, and it's going to be very cheap, 45 million euro. That's about 32 million. So, you know, it could be a great buy for an unknown player, which we haven't had for a long time. Someone coming in we don't know. Not a Lewandowski or Declan Rice or anyone like that. Someone we don't know. But what I heard about him is that we're really interested in him. Tuchel sees the replacement for Jorginho there. And, you know, like Ty said, he's a bit like Kovacic, I heard. So if he's anywhere near like Kovacic, bring him in. Because he's young and he won't cost a lot. Yeah, we are looking at players like that. You know, it's not just him. We're looking at a lot of players. And I told you before, this summer, we're going to have 3 or 4, probably 3, like I've been saying all along. And we've got one, Sterling's the first. Legit is still there. We're talking. I hope he's the second. We're still talking to him. We're talking to Koulibaly. We're talking. Even Raphinha hasn't gone off the menu yet. Even the rumors.
Yeah, we will take them one by one. And I think Simon Philip, he just put out the tweet saying the Kounde deal is back on. The Ligt's not done and dusted. But that Man City is asking too much for Nathan Ake. So let's see.
Well, we don't want. That's why I don't want. Yeah. Well, wait a minute. I don't want Nathan Ake back. He's not that good. No, I don't want players who've gone and gone to a few clubs. I don't want them coming back here, rotting the ship. No, we don't need that.
That comes out if Thomas Tuchel wants him. I want him. I will not go against that.
I don't care if Tuchel wants him. I don't want him.
Okay, that's your opinion. Let me catch up with the chat and I'll come back.
Coach, I have to go soon because Tobago asked me to come on there at 10 o'clock.
All right, go ahead. All right, okay, thank you. I heard you. You said you got it because Tobago wants you to come on. He wants me to come on too. Hopefully, I'll be able to round off on time and join him. Here, Jules says a blessed evening at Coachella. And the rest of the panelists, thanks for the stream. Please, we humbly wanted to see the faces of all our great panelists. Okay. Again, it's
one of these days I'll do that.
Yeah, for personal, reasons. Some panelists, most of the times, don't show their faces. Ty sometimes do show his face, but it rarely happens. But Ty, anything you want to say before you go? Or can you be patient? Let me try and catch up with the chat. I don't have too many things there. And if you're watching, again, if you haven't told us, tell us where you're watching from. We'd like to hear that. It makes us very happy. Ty, can I catch up and come back to you?
Yeah, sure. I said I that's fine. I have 10 minutes left.
All right. Thank you very much. Chabike Uleza says, how? I don't see Starling flopping. Please, we should be careful with our new signings. Please, Again, I get your concern, but hopefully the manager would deploy them in areas where they will feel comfortable. Again, that's by the way, big up to the panel and the chat. Also, hit the like button, people, and subscribe to the channel. Please do the same for Tobago CFC. The channel name is Coolest Charles. Go check it out. Be sure to subscribe and don't forget to let him know that I sent you. Again, Tobacco say, Coach, yeah, I fixed it. Check. I think you'll be fine there. Let's push it to what 100 likes, please. Says Chirikan Williams says that Nunes was praised by Guardiola. If you want more details, I can share it. Again, you can share that via Twitter. I'd like to see what Guardiola said, but Guardiola is known to praise even the worst players on earth. He's just a media guy. He likes, again, I don't know how else to phrase it. All sports fan Adam says Sterling would have been a Chelsea top scorer every season since Costa left. Even in his two barren last 2 seasons, he can do great if the team and personnel are turned to his strengths. That's the truth. Chelsea planning to submit 42.8 million in the next hour. Some are saying they've submitted that already. I don't know how truthful that is. Toko hopefully is building the team he wants. Again, right now we have 75 people watching and we have 76 likes. Just 24 more likes to get to 100 likes. I know we can get there and beyond. So if you haven't, please take a second to like the video. I'm going to come back to the panel. Louisa, I don't know, you've talked about that. And have you talked about how you think Thomas Tuchel should use Raheem Sterling to get the best out of him? I don't know if SB you have. Ty, go ahead. If SB you haven't, I will bring him in to talk about that. If you're in the chat, shoot your questions and we will try to address it. If not, again, after this topic, we'll call it a day. Go ahead, Ty.
I didn't really speak much on it, but I think in terms of it, I had started on it, and I was saying that I think you may use him partially as a finisher and as a creator, because I think in terms of I think somebody said that when he first went to Man City, he was more of a creator, because he didn't score a lot of goals at Liverpool, although he wasn't really there for the same period as he has been at Man City. So I think that really weighs into it as well. But he was getting more assists. He was actually creating more for them there. But I think eventually when he joined Man City, he started to develop his finishing a bit more. And then, that is one of the reasons why his goal stats went up. And it could have been more, actually, because he missed a couple of chances as well. He could have been quite easily 30, in the Premier League in his best season in particular. So I think in terms of that, in terms of the fact, and I don't remember who was saying something a while ago as well about I think it was Luis actually speaking about in terms of Havertz. I may be wrong, but with Havertz, and that she doesn't really think that Tuchel used him as a false nine. But I think in terms of that, I think that's probably the most ideal thing to do. And I mean, if there is truth, in him changing to a back four and using 4-2-2-2, although it's kind of odd that he's going to be doing that now, but it really will make sense. It really would not make sense because he has been using it last season. I remember against Spurs on other teams. So I think in terms of that, I mean, with Havertz is left-footed, and if a player is left-footed, you put them on the right, and so that they're able to get the ball into the left foot and finish. And I think Raheem Sterling's best foot is his right foot. So I think that would make sense for him to be on the left. But like I was saying initially, I think we need to get in a creative midfielder as well that can actually benefit him. And you say at David Silva, I don't know how possible that is to really find it. We need good scouts, and right now we don't really have that. So unless we decide to, for this season at least, rely on Gallagher to express that creative side that he showed against at Crystal Palace, and then hopefully we can use that. But I do think like Luisa was saying, he's not as quick as before. But something in terms of what I heard about Central, it reminds me of the Champions League final. I remember that he started off in the center, and he struggled there because he's realistically not a false nine. He likes to drift wide. And that is why I remember in particular when Reece James, was in a tussle with him, he was able to beat him because he was shifting to the left. He was trying to go back to the center, shifting to the left, and then he was able to do that. And Sterling was trying to offload the ball because he realized that James was going to get the ball. So I think in terms of that, I think probably that is an indication of why Tuchel probably would not want to use him centrally, because he would have seen that every time he's played there, he hasn't really been at the same level as he would be on the wide position. And I think that is the same with Jesus. Jesus isn't really a focal point in terms of the center because he does better wide, and that's why he scores most of his goals and create. So I think in terms of that, you see in either way, if we had gotten Jesus as well, I don't really think it would have been central. I think it would have been wide, and in terms of that, because he's better wide and in some cases centrally, but it depends on the opposition. And I think it's the same with Sterling, because due to his pace and due to the certain teams playing a high line, especially Southampton, it could be key if we use him as a supporting striker. If we keep Werner, of course, and Havertz is used as a false nine until we're able to. But also, we can't forget about Broja. Broja could still be kept, but right now there's an indication that he could leave, unfortunately. But that's a conversation for another day.
Ty, thank you very much. I know you said you'll be leaving in a minute, so I'm going to go to SBU. SBU, the question I want to ask you is this: if we play three at the back system, and if you were listening to Ty, he talked about how Sterling struggled in the Champions League final because he started centrally. So if we play three at the back system, the two places will be that is left. That's the space. There will be space for Sterling to play will be as a left wing back or player, or as one of the two number eight. But as a wing back, even if he plays as a left wing back, man, I think he still argue that he still do well because he operates vertically along that lines. But as one of the two number eights, how do you think he would do there?
First of all, it's a no to have Sterling at a wing back position. Hell no. You're not getting Sterling to put him on a wing.
How about the way Loftus-Cheek, how he fulfilled the role the day he played on the right-hand side?
Alonso is built different. Alonso was a natural born striker. It was criminal to have him on a left back position. So I would definitely want to see Sterling at our key attacking player, whether by creating goals or scoring goals themselves, because it would be such a waste to have Sterling and only get 10 assists and 5 goals. You get what I mean? So I love the options that he's gonna give us in terms of the formation. But I've read somewhere that Tuchel was kind of experimenting and looking to try a 4-3-3 formation that would have Sterling on the left, Kai Havertz, and either Hakim Ziyech on the right or CHO. And I know a lot of Chelsea fans have written Callum Hudson-Odoi out, but at the beginning of last season, he did give us, good numbers at the start, and then he sort of died down at the end of the season. So I want to see Sterling really play a key part in our attacking system, because if you look at Chelsea last season, our problem was not creating chances. It was actually finishing them. So we actually don't struggle in terms of creating chances. It's just that we've just been missing a lot of them. So with Sterling as our key focal point at the attacking wing or up front, I think we have a lot of options to explore there. Whether Werner comes off from the bench or Callum Hudson-Odoi comes off from the bench, Sterling should be the one who's dictating play when it comes to what happens inside the box. Because much of our goals last season came through the involvement of our defenders, whether it was Reece James before injury, Chilwell before injury. We saw a lot of Thiago Silva, getting in the goals. So our back our defenders actually contribute towards our attack. It's just that our front line, man, has been giving us issues. So we need Sterling to lead the front line, and I would really like to see Tuchel experiment a lot with him in that front three. We have quality good players. It's just finishing and putting the ball at the back of the net. Our defense is good. We can really challenge Liverpool and Man City if we just score enough goals. And we just signed a very good player. Let's give Kai Havertz a chance at the number 9 position, and Sterling really needs to come through for us. That's it.
Yeah, I do agree with you, and that all spot Fine Adam says Tuchel hopefully is building the team he wants. Everything that's been going and indicates that's what's happening. Given that we've been told that he has the final say on who the club signs. Again, Titus Miena says I'm really looking forward to the start of the season. Any news on CR7? Again, I don't know what's going on, but what we learned this morning is that Chelsea, and that is no beat from Chelsea, let me just put it that way, but there are rumors that Todd Bowley had arranged a meeting with his camp and is looking to sign him, but haven't discussed it with Thomas Tuchel, so we don't know what's going on there. Do I want him to come Chelsea? For personal reasons. Now, I'm not going to say for reasons that I've discussed here on the channel, I would say no. How would a formation likely be if CR7 was to join? I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying it lightly. CR7 comes, again, he's a good player, but the truth remains that he will create more problems for us than he can solve for us because he cannot press, which means Thomas Tuchel has to change the way we play to accommodate him, because usually he likes his attacking players to be able to press and press very well. But that's, by the way, Victor Angayere says Havertz is not a number 9. It's the simplest that, but he can play well as a second striker because even if you play him as number 9, he likes to get involved in the team's play. So again, and Sterling is a winger, but Sterling he's fulfilled the false 9 role for Manchester City, but I don't think it would make sense to play him as a number 9, even as a second striker. You can only experiment so much, and that's simply the truth. SBU, I know I haven't talked about you. You and I haven't talked about the possibility of Cristiano Ronaldo coming to Chelsea Football Club. Is that something you want to happen? If yes, why? If no, likewise, tell us why.
Hell no. Sorry for the bad language, but as you said,
no worries. Yeah.
We're gonna have to literally change our entire system, because Ronaldo is the kind of player that even himself gets so frustrated if the play doesn't involve him. So we're literally gonna be looking like Manchester United, just scrambling all over the pitch just to give Ronaldo the ball. Ronaldo is a very complicated player. I don't think we really want him in our team. We have enough quality to push through, but I would really find it discouraging if ever we go for Ronaldo, because we've seen that, yes, he was the top goal scorer for Manchester United, but the team itself has suffered because of it. They couldn't involve other players. They couldn't get the numbers through from their attacking players as well. So I really wouldn't want to see Ronaldo come to Chelsea. I'm afraid. I'm a big Ronaldo fan. I'm Ronaldo before I'm Messi, but then in a blue shirt, absolutely not. No, thank you.
Yeah, that begs the question. I don't know why many people didn't see what you just said. And you and I the same. I think he will cause more problems, for us than he can solve. Will he score goals? Yes, he will score goals, but whether subconsciously or by design, everything becomes about Ronaldo. I don't know why people have failed to see that. Yes, he scored 20 goals plus at United, but where did they finish the season? The chances are, if all the players who are supposed to score goals did score goals, they do better than they've done. Again, we have 68 people watching, and we have 84 likes, so we need just 16 more likes to get to 100 likes. Please, let's shoot for that quickly. We have just about 4 minutes to round off the show. And I'm going to go back to Ty. Ty, your thoughts on everything we talked about today, and do you have any update for us?
I mean everything. I mean, with first of all, the thumbnail that you have behind behind the panelists. It's it's something, in terms of Sterling. It's something that some fans can be happy about. Some will be happy that we've at least signed somebody. So it's an indication that we're not sleeping, figuratively. And I mean, it's a good indication that at least Tuchel is getting players that he wants, and it's not a repetition of last summer when he wanted players and he didn't, and the club didn't really try for them, or if they did try, it wasn't feasible or viable. So it's a good indication at least, and it just shows that Todd Bowley is not only um, seeing something and then does do it. He puts action before his words, so that's a positive. I mean, I know you were slightly discussing other players as well. Kounde appears to still be a possibility. The Ligt is situation where it looks like a bidding war could appear between Juventus and Chelsea, and it will not Juventus, Bayern Munich and Chelsea. And in terms of that, it depends on who outbeats the other, and which team gives up on pursuing him. But I do think that right now there's no indication that Juventus will choose Bayern Munich if the bid is not up to their demands, or it's not close to what they're asking. With everything else as well, in terms of what you're saying, hopefully this gives some fans some assurance that the club are looking to sign other players. And yes, Matheus Nunes is somewhere that the club is monitoring, and as well as De Jong, to see if anything comes between United and Barcelona in that regard. But right now, there's not really much of an update. Really, there's other signings that are being looked at. Obviously, Declan Rice is still in the picture, and the club could look to try to make a bid for him by the end of this month. But right now, the priority, like I said earlier, is to focus on the defense and try to add more recruitment to the attack, and of course, try to integrate some of the young players that could come back, namely Gallagher, for example. And it's still remains to be
By the
seen.
way, where does Gallagher fit?
That is what I was about to see, because I there's so many options now. I mean, he's not a six. If you play him as a six, we're gonna be, making him susceptible to getting criticized. So I don't know about playing him as a six. And I mean, in the form, this is why if the formation is true, the formation switch is true. The only way I see him playing is, and this is not really something I would like to see though, is if we decide, either way, some certain players are not going to be able to play, because if a 4-2-2-2 is the way to go, it means that you have a double pivot, and then you have two attacking midfielders, or 8 or 10, depending what you want to say, and then you have two up top. So I really don't know. It depends. I think it's going to get rotated, but I think he may accept that because his long-term goal, as well as some interesting other players like Ian Matheson, is to make it at Chelsea and try their luck at making it into the team. And I mean, if it wasn't for certain, managers or assistant managers, we wouldn't be able to value these players or give attention to them. So it really does. It's something to think about in terms of Gallagher, because I mean, there's only two positions he can really play in, and as a six, he's not that player because he's not really developed in that defensive stride. So I think in terms of that, it would be probably more as an 8 or as a 10. But you never know. We could use him as a wing back in certain games. You never know, because he has that attributes to play as a wing back. And I mean, the best position for him is on the right. So you never know. It really does. Another person you have to think about is Mason Mount as well. But I want to allow you to wrap up. So I'm gonna end what I have to say there.
Yeah, but thank you very much. And quickly, I want to ask people in the chat, this is the link to the Vagos YouTube channel, and we will be there in a bit for his live show. Please click through it, drop a like on the video, and be sure to join us. SBU, before you give us your final thoughts on everything we've talked about today, I'd like to try and answer this question on the screen by Titus Miena, who says, how would the formation likely be if CR7 was to join Chelsea? If you can answer that, fine, and let us know, your final thoughts on everything we've talked about.
Ronaldo thrives at a 4-3-3 formation. I think how he got his goals in Manchester United was that he was always in the box, and he was always either in the box or fighting for that ball in front of the defenders. But he really, really thrives at a 4-3-3 formation, and I'm not sure how we would try and fit him into our team. Honestly, that would really suppress a lot of guys in terms of their numbers and in terms of their appearances for Chelsea.
Hmm.
You wouldn't see a lot of Timo Werner, even though we're not relying on him that much. You won't be seeing a lot of Caleb Hudson-Odoi. You won't be seeing Armando Broja. Even though we just want to give him a shot at the preseason, I don't think we're gonna make a permanent. I don't think we're gonna give him a permanent place in our squad. We've seen a lot of young people leaving under Thomas Tuchel, so it would be a total disruption to have Ronaldo in. But it definitely would be a 4-3-3 formation to try out with Ronaldo. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I was asking, I didn't know I was on mute. I was asking
Oh,
your final thoughts. You haven't given us your final thoughts on everything we've talked about today.
okay. My final thoughts are as follows, right? So, considering everything we've talked about, there's only one team that's holding up this entire process. We have Dembele, who's still under contract negotiations with Barcelona. We have Frankie de Jong, who's still undecided about Manchester United because Barcelona still need to pay his bonuses and whatnot. We have Lewandowski, who wants to go to Barcelona, who are still going under talks with Bayern Munich. We have Raphinha in the pipeline, who wants to go to Barcelona, and they're still discussing the transfer fee. We have Jules Kounde, also linked with Barcelona. All these great players who want to play for Barcelona, and Barcelona really can't get all these major signings through because of their financial struggles. And I mean, if one signing, gets through, I think it's gonna be a ripple effect with all of these
Mm.
rumors. It will put a lot of rumors to rest. It would really make a lot of signings go through. So one club has basically derailed this transfer window, all because they can't make major signings at this moment. They can't extend contracts. They've kind of hit the ceiling when it comes to their salary scales. So there's a lot of things going on right now, but all of these transfer standstill that are happening right now are all because of one club and players who really want to play for the club. And we do understand that Barcelona has a strong culture. So my final words are these: is that what I wanted to say, which was a response to something Ty said earlier, was that in the current market, you're not actually just competing against other clubs, but you're actually considering what the player wants himself. So we're actually fighting against players. Sorry, not fighting against clubs. We're actually trying to convince the players themselves to play for our club. So it wasn't like in the olden days where, if a club wants you and then you're just privileged to go there. But nowadays, players actually have a say in where they decide to go. So it's not just about winning bids and being the highest bidder. It's actually about attracting the right player who would be a perfect fit and who actually wants to play for the club. And that's something that we should be considering looking into closing off our transfers. That's it for me. Thank you guys for having me. I will
More thanks to
only
you for finding time to join. Always good, to have your opinion. Again, I appreciate that. Again, it makes sense to always, most cases consider what the player wants to do, whether they want to be at your club in the first place.
yeah
but I will make an exception for Raphinha's case for obvious reasons that I explained. If Barca are going to get him, they must pay more than we're willing to pay, because I don't want us to pull out and then Arsenal gets him. It will be even more embarrassing given our rivalry with Arsenal. I hope you understand that. Victor Angaya said Havertz is not a number 9. We've read that before. Says Gallagher needs to play in a position where he can score and assist, because again I agree with that, because he likes to get into the box, so he needs to be closer to the final third. Breaking news: Barcelona have agreed a total agreement with the Portuguese player, and that is his preferred decision. Which Portuguese player? Can you please let me know? Smith David 40 says this is really funny, but it is serious indeed. We should start shopping at Portuguese in Portuguese language. Players from Portuguese who joins the Premier League are different for them. Are different for them to flop. Again, I get your argument there. Again, with that, we've come to the end of the show, and I want to say thank you to Ty Talks. Sorry, Louisa. Apologies, my co-host. Again, I know you wouldn't have forgiven me if that had happened. Your final thoughts on everything we've talked about today, Louisa.
Yeah, pretty much it looks like the Sterling deal is a done deal, but I always refrain from saying done deal till I see them in jerseys, because it's always football is a fickle market and anything can change at any time. So well, fingers crossed, because I think the idea is to get Sterling in so that he can join us for the US preseason, which would be great. And the Nunes, I don't know what's going on with that, but it could very well be like, because it's not a DM, we do need a DM, but at the same time, it looks like maybe Kovacic, Kounde might be getting like maybe someone who can make sure he plays like less minutes so that he can be fit for the really important games. The defender situation, as it is, we don't really have any defender that is like, we're almost there. The Koulibaly deal is dependent on Juve. The Ligt deal is dependent on Bayern. The Kounde deal is not. The Kounde actually wants to come to Chelsea. It's not like he's holding out for Barca or Barca or anything. It's just that Kounde was not a Thomas signing. But at the end of the day, if the Ligt ends up not coming, Koulibaly is a no-go, we might end up seeing Kounde in Chelsea blue because it's one of the best that is available. And if we do not get people like Koulibaly and Ligt, we might go for him. So we're going to see what's going to happen. And Sterling, I feel like Thomas will be one of those coaches that will probably use Sterling in a more different role that we actually think he could use him for, but I just hope he will be effective. So far so good. I think we're getting to the point where we'll probably see signings coming in very, very fast. So we're over the panic line of are we serious about this transfer window or not?
Yeah. Again, thank you very much for that. I think we're crossing the panic line, and I hope. But I was going to ask you, were you one of those on the panic bus, Louisa?
No, I was never on the panic bus, because personally, I didn't really think I wasn't. My hopes for this season were really very low. There was no way they were going to not meet my expectation. My expectation was just have a starting 11, whether that's going to be made up of our under 18 or our development squad. Just have a starting 11 for us for the beginning of the season. Then we see where we go from there.
Yeah, again, thank you very much for that. With that, we've come to the end of the show. And again, there's a chance I come back again later in the night, or if not, I'll see you guys during the Blue Morning show. I'm talking about Nunes from. Are you serious? They're going after him too. I keep hearing the players are Tujamas signing. Well, let him go. And again, find defenders now. There aren't a lot. Good defenders out there. So good luck to him. Again, thank you very much to everybody on the panel. Please look at their Twitter handles. We have we have Thai Talk CFC. Go follow him on Twitter, and also do subscribe to his channel. And when you do, let him know I sent you. Follow Luisa Sordaro, my co-host of the evening shows. I actually house, but she had some technical issues. So I had to come in. I'll also follow SBU. I don't know how. Sorry, Mattijs. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. On Twitter, I will try to share the information in the description section. Again, don't forget to subscribe to Thai Talks YouTube channel. And Victor, I think I've read that. And all Sportsman says Raphinha deal to Barca broke down. He asked Lisa to send him to Chelsea. Really? I do believe that. That's another.
What?
Yep, I hope that's the truth.
What?
And I trust all sports fan Adam. I think he hasn't trolled for once. I wasn't looking at my Twitter feed window. That may well be the case. I hope that happens.
Awesome.
I'm going to laugh if this is.
I hope that's the truth. I hope that's the truth because I trust all sports fan Adam. I trust him so much. But he says, peace, take care. You too. He says, keep the blue flag flying high. Again, a big up African queen. I think this is somebody saying hello to Louisa, Alex Becker's channel. Again, Alex, I think we should do a collab. Hit me up on Twitter. Let's talk about it. Again, we have 49 people watching and 48 and then 85 likes. Just 15 more to get to 100 likes. I'm going to share the link to Tobago's YouTube channel. He's hosting a show right now. And I'm going to join on the panel in a bit, and I'd appreciate it if you guys can just click through the link. Drop a like even if you don't want to watch, but please join us there. Again, thank you to Alex Becker's channel. Thank you to All Sports Adam. Thank you to Victor Angayari. Thank you to my Indian brother, Smith David. Thank you to Chibika Muya, my brother. Thank you to Titus and everybody else that was on the panel. Again, those that were on the panel. Again, if I miss your name, apologies. I'm only human. Thank you very much. Again, pay attention. Even if it's going to be an automated show, I will be there for a while, especially if I have anybody to talk with like Ty or Phantom of Many Topics. Again, I'll see you guys either later today, but definitely during the Blue Morning Show, which is a daily transfer show on Chelsea Perspective. Thank you so much. God bless us all, and cheers.